DeG.
I'm a little
Remind me as you have invocation now. You have invocation, the invocation. Okay. Just remind me.
No. Get your man.
Not ready?
Preach.
Okay, it being 5 p.m., the Lafourche Parish Council meeting of March 25th, 2025 is hereby called to order. Ms. Carlene, can you please conduct roll call?
Yes, sir. Mr. Brumfield.
Present.
Mr. Adams is absent. Mr. Perk.
Here.
Mr. Melvin.
Here.
Mr. Pierce.
Here.
Mr. Arabi. Chairman Oten.
Here.
Mrs. Chasson. Here. Mr. Lorraine. And President Chasson.
Thank you very much, Ms. Carlene. If everyone would please rise, we'll be led in invocation by Councilman Brumfield, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilwoman Chasson.
Most Father, we thank you for your divine presence, and we thank you for your son Jesus. We ask that you will guide us tonight as we engage in affairs of this parish. We pray that we would make right decisions in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to
the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone to tonight's meeting. First off, I request that everyone please turn your phones off and or put them on silent out of respect for the others. I also remind anyone wishing to address the council to please fill out a blue form at the door you walked in. Get up to the council clerk. We'll be certain to recognize you. Finally, as we go through the agenda on ordinances, I will ask for public input prior to our discussion and then vote on that item. For resolutions, however, it'll only be discussion among the council members and then a vote. So if you do want to talk about a resolution, be sure to fill out a blue form or come up during public wishing to address the council. With that said, we'll jump right into tonight's meeting. Item A, do we have any state and or federal legislative updates? I don't see any legislators in the office. Item B, none. This meeting brings us to item C, proclamations. Item 1, Parish President Archie Chesson to present a proclamation proclaiming April 2nd, 2025 as Paint the Parish Blue in Lafourche Parish for autism spectrum disorder. Mr. President, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Autism or autism spectrum disorder, ASD, refers to a broad range of conditions characterized by challenges with social skills, repetitive behavior, speech, and nonverbal communication. And whereas more health professionals become proficient in diagnosing autism, more children are being diagnosed, resulting in rates as high as 1 in 36 children diagnosed with ASD in the United States. Boys are 4 times more likely than girls to have ASD. And whereas autism, a spectrum disorder, each person with autism has a distinct set of strengths and challenges. The ways in which people with autism learn and think and problem solve can range from highly skilled to severely challenged. And some people with ASD may require significant support in their daily lives, while others may not need support and in some cases live entirely independently. And whereas every April, the Autism Society works to build an inclusive community where autistic individuals are embraced and supported to achieve the highest quality of life possible. And whereas the Autism Society deeply understands the need to foster awareness and acceptance to ignite change and a healthier lifestyle through improved opportunities for people with autism, the organization caters to people living on the autism onslaught using tools like community partnerships with organizations, digital and print resources, along with events and referrals to spark empathy and inclusivity. And whereas the autism diagnosis rate increasing fast, we'll take these 30 days of April to celebrate the differences, learn more, and empower autistic individuals. So now, therefore, our Archie Chesson, Parish President of Lafourche, do hereby proclaim April 2nd, 2025 as Paint the Parish Blue Day in Lafourche Parish. And we got a couple of, Mr. Chairman. I guess we'll just do pictures when we're all done with all of them? Okay.
All right, brings us to item 2. Parish President Archie Chesson to present a proclamation proclaiming April 2nd, 2025 as Autism Awareness Day in Lafourche Parish. Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So they all kind of read the same, but I'll end with the different whereases. So whereas autism diagnosis rates increase fast, and we'll take these 30 days of April to celebrate the differences and learn more about and empower autistic individuals. So therefore, we will proclaim April 2nd, 2025 as Autism Awareness Day in Lafourche Parish.
And item 3 is Parish President Archie Chesson to present a proclamation proclaiming April 2025 as Autism Acceptance Month. Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And whereas autism diagnosis rates increase fast, and we will take the 30 days of April to celebrate the differences, learn more, and empower autistic individuals. And now, therefore, we shall proclaim April 2025 as Autism Acceptance Month.
You are both welcome to say anything you like. I would just ask that you state your name and your address for the record.
My name's Candace Degater. I live at 16024 Highway 3235 in Cutoff. Thanks, everyone, for allowing us to be here tonight. On behalf of myself, who is an autism mom of a 6-year-old boy, and I know we have a few of them in here who autism affects their life deeply. And it makes me feel a lot better that our kids are being more accepted and more loved and just being included in everything that goes on in our parish. And it means a lot that people stand up and help me get the point across that our kids are just as important, even though they may not be able to say or do things like our normal kids. They're just as important, and they make our world just as good. So, thank you.
Very well
After these-
said. Very well said. I will also point out, thanks to the administration, to the DPW, because on every occasion I've ever requested quickly for an autistic sign to go up, so children in the neighborhoods have been quick to react and get those signs up. So thank you to the administration. I'll let her finish just a minute. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sweetie.
And my grandkids are gonna have all kind of questions when they see that. All right, very good. That brings us to item 4. Parish President, Mr. Archie Chesson, to present a proclamation proclaiming April 2025 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Mr. President, you have the floor, sir. Go.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sexual assault at its core is a devastating abuse of power, one that affects every age, race, sex, gender, identity, sexual orientation, national origin, social economic background, and religion. It is the responsibility of each of us to stand up and speak out against it, to not only improve the laws and the services available to survivors, but to also change the culture and attitudes that allow sexual assault to proliferate. Whereas every 68 seconds an American is sexually assaulted, and every 9 minutes that victim is a child. And whereas 9 out of every 10 victims of rape are female, and whereas 94% of women who are raped experience symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder during the 2 weeks following, and 30% of women report symptoms of PTSD 9 months after the rape. And whereas out of every 100 rapes, 40 are reported, 10 lead to an arrest, 8 are prosecuted, 4 lead to a conviction, and 3 rapists spend a day in prison, and 97 rapists walk away free. And whereas in 2024, the Haven assisted 111 survivors of sexual violence, provided 46 survivors with legal or medical advocacy, conducted 190 therapy sessions to survivors of sexual assault, and facilitated 29 sexual assault response team meetings. Whereas victims should have support to find compassion, comfort, and healing they need, and sexual perpetrators should be punished to the fullest extent of the law. While important partnerships have been formed among criminal justice agencies, allied professionals, and victim services to assist victims of sexual violence and their families. And whereas it is important to recognize the compassion and dedication of these individuals who provide services to victims of sexual violence and work to increase public awareness of sexual violence and prevalence, and to eliminate the prevention and education. And whereas our parish has a moral obligation to work to prevent sexual assaults and the severe trauma it causes to those affected. Now therefore, I, Archie Chesson, Parish President Lafourche, do hereby proclaim April 2025 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and be it further resolved that April 1st, 2025 be the day of action to all citizens are urged to wear teal and show their support for the survivors of sexual assault and bring awareness to the community. And be it further resolved that April 30th, 2025 is proclaimed International Denim Day. And lastly, all citizens are urged to wear teal on every Tuesday during the month of April to show their support in an effort to end sexual violence, to speak out against sexual violence, and to support all the local efforts to assist survivors of these crimes in finding the help and healing the services they deserve. I think we have some folks here from the Haven.
Very good. Thank you all for attending.
That's it, Mr. Chairman.
All right, brings us to item D, presentations and our updates. Item 1, a representative from River Birch LLC to answer questions about delays in bulky waste service and a plan to move forward at the request of administration. You may approach. And if you don't mind, just state your name and record for us to catch it on the tape.
Good evening, Councilman, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. My name is Gus Bordelon, President of River Birch Renewable Energy, and I'm here to talk about trash issues or cart issues or whatever issue you may have and see if we can get things squared away and headed in the right direction. So,
Open to questions? All right. So, Mr. Terry Pierce, you have the floor first, sir.
All right, I got a few of them. You know, I'm the new guy here, but I did read the contract, and like we spoke a little earlier, Sam and I have been talking quite a bit lately.
right.
Probably, it's not that I don't like Sam, but I've been talking to him too much. Bulk trash is a big issue in my district, very big issue. People's waiting 4-6 weeks to get it picked up. I know we discussed things a little before the meeting, and you said things are getting better. I hope they do, because I'm gonna start giving them your phone number when they call, because they're paying so much money on water bills, and these people are waiting 4 to 6 weeks for bulk trash. The other thing is garbage cans. People are saying that a couple of incidences I had that the can fell in the truck. They called the office, and the office said that they had no proof of that. And it'll be 3 to 4 weeks before they got a can. I don't know what they're supposed to do with their trash for 3 or 4 weeks, but that would be a problem for me. And the other one is when they don't get picked up. 3 weeks ago, it actually happened to me, my house. So people don't think I'm special because I'm a councilman. They picked up one can, left the other one. And I called the office. I called the solid waste and reported it. According to the contract, after it's reported, it's supposed to be picked up within 24 hours. If it's missed, or it's a $20 assessment per can, mine stayed out there till the next pickup day, 3 days. That's $60 just for me. Not counting, I don't know how many other ones don't get picked up in the parish, I have a low-income neighborhood in my district, and I feel like they've been getting ignored. It's horrible back there. And the reason it's horrible is because they're being ignored, and it's just piling up. Now, in the last couple of weeks, I think since Sam talked to you, things have really improved back there. They've been back there. Pat on the back to Mr. Sam for that, because it's getting done. But I just think, they say in the bulk trash supposed to be a 2-week cycle. People are waiting 3, 4, 5 weeks. I mean, y'all under contract, not me. I just think it needs to be better.
Okay, and 4 to 6 weeks is totally unacceptable. I agree with you. Just like every contractor in this business, we have issues with trucks, we have issues with personnel, and that's not your problem, that's ours. And we're in the process of fixing it. We've brought in additional assets to handle the bulk. When you have the timing of the trucks going down, being shorthanded with folks, and then you have spring cleaning, it just compounds the issue. We brought in additional trucks. We're working on getting back on schedule. As I mentioned to you earlier, we're working with the administration. We met with them this week to roll out a schedule for the boom trucks so that the residents will know when they can expect to put their bulky waste out, when they can expect for it to be picked up. That's something we've been trying to get accomplished in this parish for the past several years. Well, we're going to get it done now. Okay. Because it needs to be done.
Right.
So we're working through that. On the carts, If you read the contract says that we're only supposed to provide service to 2 carts per resident. Ride this parish. There's residents out there that have 5, 6, 7 carts. So we've been kind of lenient on that as well. So, and we talked earlier where folks used to be able to come to the office and say, hey, I need a cart, and they would give them a cart. Well, we need to verify, 1, that that is a resident from Lafourche Parish, 2, that they don't have multiple carts out there. So, so it's give and take on both when it comes to the cart
Right.
process. As I mentioned to you earlier, a shipment of carts, about 700 carts to a load. When you're going through those 700 carts in 3 months, something has to be fixed and something has to be addressed. So, and the bad thing, what happens is that resident that has a legitimate complaint about a cart, he gets caught in the mess
Right.
of trying to get it cleaned up, and he has to wait, or she has to wait additional time for the cart. We apologize for that. We're working through a process now, working with Sam to make sure that there's a flow to that. Well, a work order is generated, we handle it, we make sure that it's closed out at the end of the day, so that we both know through communication, how that issue was addressed. And the main thing is that we can get the resident taken care of as quickly as possible. That's what we're here to do.
Right. Well, and the other thing I want people to understand, I want the general public to understand this, is when you have an issue with the trash, call solid waste. Don't call River Birch. Call solid waste so we can keep track of it at the parish level. Because calling River Birch, it may work, but the parish has no record of it, that it's not working,
However you want to do it, but we have a customer service center that responds to those needs.
I know, but if I got a resident that calls you, and I'm not gonna find out about it, because you're not gonna tell me that, hey, we forgot to do this. This way the parish has a record of it if they call the parish, is what I'm getting at.
I got you.
But look, like I say, I credit you in the last couple of weeks. I know you talked to Sam, a week or so ago. I have seen some improvement in my territory. I gotta give you that credit. I have seen some improvements.
Well, when you say improvements, we've been on this contract for 7 years. Now, this is the first time that I had to stand here before this council and talk about service issues. So I think that we do a good job in the parish. We work hard to provide a good service. Are we perfect? No. There's times where we stub our toe and we have to, adjust and make some changes.
Right.
And that's where we are right now. But-
That's where we are now,
Yeah,
trying to make some
and I
adjustments.
can tell you that, rest assured, that your issues will be addressed.
Okay.
And they're being addressed daily. Communication between Sam, Dylan, and the parish president, we're working to make sure that the residents of this parish get the service that they pay for.
I can live with that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pierce. Mr. Arabi, you have the floor, sir.
Well, first of all, I want to thank the administration for getting you over here, Gus, and thank you for taking time to come out here and hear us out, because we all got the same issues. I'm not speaking on behalf of the other councilmen, but we all have some similar issues about the trash pickup. And speaking with you before the meeting, and you telling us that you had a meeting with the administration earlier this week to try to work on some of these problems, I'll see how things improve.
Well, I can,
And again, like I said, thank you and Sam and Parish President for trying to get some of these issues taken care of.
Yeah.
Because it was getting bad. I mean, I got some issues in my area also, that trash has been out there quite a while. And I know what you mean by equipment and manpower. So if you're telling me that you're working on a plan to try to improve it, I'm happy. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Arabi. Ms. Chasson.
So on the subject of garbage cans, so I do have a lady, and this conversation started yesterday, and I was talking with Sam about them, but they have 2 cans. One had no lid, they needed the lid replaced. Their second can, when the garbage truck dumped it, the can went into the truck, and it was taken. So when she called River Birch to see about getting that second can back, they said there was no proof that she bought the second can, so the way that they weren't going to return her second can. But the second can was given to her by a neighbor who left. Said, here's the can, I'm moving out. I don't know where that makes a difference, where she got the second can when the garbage truck took her can. Regardless, the other part of that is their house is backed up on a very small street. Pre-Ida, the garbage truck would back up and get the garbage from their driveway. since Ida, they started bringing the garbage to the front by the neighbor's house. So the neighbor has her can, and if they bring their 2 cans by that one resident, it looks like that one resident has 3 cans. There's multiple homes down south of us, I don't know about the rest of the area, but multiple homes where it's a smaller street and the neighbors are bringing their cans to one house. So it looks like that one house has 5, 6, 7 cans, but it's really multiple homes that the cans belong to. So I did start telling my people to put their addresses on their cans to prove whose can is whose. So that may be something we need to work on parish-wide. But in getting back to Ms. Pete, I think their can should be returned to them.
I agree. If it went in the truck, absolutely.
Yeah, and also,
issue-
and the other thing too is, not to cut you off, but I just want to get them all out and then you can answer
Yes,
me
ma'am.
back. I see a lot of cans that are getting damaged. A can on my street, my neighbor's can was, punched a hole in the middle, it was a mess, and they were still trying to use it.
Right.
And I turned that one into Sam, I'm like, can we get this can replaced, because this can is not even usable anymore.
Sure.
It's not a matter of just fixing a lid. The garbage trucks damage the cans, we know this. So that's why we have to keep replacing these cans, and then that's costing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, they do. And
Yeah.
then, so a lot of these carts have been out there for many, many years.
Right.
They're brittle, the sun and what have you.
Right,
To the point about the second cart, when we took over the contract, we were contractually obligated to give everybody a new cart, and we did that. And there was, coming over from the previous provider, that customer probably paid for that second cart through them. We don't have those records.
Right.
So, but, since for the past 7 years, if someone bought the second cart from us, we have a record of that.
Right.
So you can see where that would fall through the cracks, going from the service providers.
right, but the driver of the truck knew the can fell in. Like, there was proof, they weren't just saying, oh, I just want a second can. There was
Right.
proof that the can was taken.
Yeah.
They should have got their can
No
back.
excuse for that. We should
Yeah.
replace that, and we should replace it right away.
Okay. Mr. Sam has that lady's information, so. All right, thank you.
I'll get with Sam, and we'll make sure that that's taken care of.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you, Ms. Chasson. Mr. Pert, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Portolone, for attending. I, like everybody else, have had issues with, with the bulk, and so it sounds like I'm not going to keep harping on that. It sounds like we're trying to move in the right direction, right?
Yes, sir.
A lot of what I find, and I've had this conversation, Mr. Sam and I have talked about this, is the communication process, okay? When we have a constituent or a citizen calls your office and says, hey, my tree limbs or trash are not going to get picked up for 4 to 6 weeks. We all know that's unacceptable, right? But guess who, the phone's barely cold, and guess who they're calling right after that?
Right.
Us 9.
Sure, I understand.
And so it's just, as it relates to that, I've got another incident right here as it relates to lids. And that, I guess that's, we're getting these cans and they're all getting aged, right? They're getting sun, they're starting to dry out, they're plastic, whatever. So how do we start instituting of a gradual replacement to start cycling through these so that we're not replacing them all at one time, so that all of a sudden we've got all of our constituents in the entire parish with broken garbage cans? So is there a way for us to start cycling through, 1,200, 1,000, or whatever at a time? So I've got a particular situation with the lid, and it goes back to the communication part. He called on November 19th. To this day, he still doesn't have a new lid. But his first conversation with River Birch was, well, can you come to our facility so we can change it? That may seem like good opportunity or good answer for you guys, but he works, his wife works,
that's
so,
the
and
way
I've
I'd
got
run
that
it.
information for you. So I think it's the old saying,
Sure.
it's not what we say, but how we say
Sure,
it,
sure,
right?
yeah.
And I always iterate that to our, the administration, right? the way we talk to people and how we talk to people has such a big impact on so that's my biggest thing, is
No, I
that
get
we
it.
need to be able to communicate
I'm
just
gonna,
better.
we'll have a plan to fix those lids as well. and
Right.
We'll present that to the council.
So, and just to, as it doesn't relate so much to you, but as Mr. Terry Pierce, Councilman Pierce said, to those that are listening, as it relates to, he was saying, if you've got an issue to call solid waste, basically, our parish has a solid waste line where you can file a claim. We also have a online process, which if you've got a computer, you've got Wi-Fi or internet, it's such an easy process. And I do it, my constituents call me, I do it, and I get and what it does is it gives an incident number, right? So that if it doesn't get picked up, we can go back to our solid waste department, give them that incident number, and they can get with you guys. And it just, like Mr. Terry said, it creates a paper trail. So I just wanted to share that for those that are listening or watching. So that's really it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Pert. Mr. Brumfield, you have the floor, sir.
Mr. Gus, I want to thank you for coming. I want to thank the administration. I want to thank Mr. Sam Shinklin for all that he does as well. Of course, just like all the rest of the council, I have the same problem, I had the same problem, and with the bulk trash, but I am just grateful that we're working on something as to schedule the boom trucks, and I hope in the near future we won't have these problems again. Thank you.
I can assure you, you won't.
Thank you, Mr. Brumfield. Mr. Melvin, you have the floor, sir.
Yes, thank you. Real quick, I have a few different issues, and I'm not going to be repetitive, but I've had some constituents tell me that, they have their can on the side of the driveway, the truck will pick it up, and it might be a new driver, they just roll a little bit, and when they put it down, it's in the middle of the driveway. Now, that's just what I'm being told, right? Because I can't be at every house, as you well know. So that was kind of different, because I hadn't heard that since I've been on this council. And they sent me pictures, driveway, can in the middle of the driveway. Also, I have one constituent in particular that keeps having lids breaking. And, I don't think he has a shop. He's a white-collar worker. It's not like he's throwing a bunch of wood in there or scraps from a wood shop or anything. Do you find, and what do you think could be breaking his lids? Is it that he's not closing them properly? What do y'all see?
No, it's funny you say that. I just had a meeting yesterday with the cart provider. It seems that we've got a bad batch of lids, and they're actually sending us, they're under warranty.
Okay.
They're 2 weeks out on the route, and they're cracking right down the middle. And we're seeing this not only in Lafourche Parish, we're seeing them in Jefferson Parish, we're seeing them on the North Shore. So I don't know if they get bad resin or whatever, but we brought it to their attention. We're not the only garbage company that has that issue. Something went wrong with, because we all kind of use the same company. That's being addressed. But it is a bad problem. And like I said, right down the middle, and we replace lids. 2 weeks later, we're out there replacing lids again on the same card. So it's unacceptable, and we're working through that. So just bear with us. But it looks like it's a manufacturing issue.
And I've had a few over the last several years, especially, like around hurricane time, things are crazy, or a holiday when we're getting back to normal. But I've had a few whole streets missed at certain times. In any event, but thanks for being here. And I know that this is not the first time I see River Birch. I forgot who was here last time, but again, thanks for coming. Y'all usually pretty good about coming when we ask for a meeting, so thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Melvin. So that's it from the council. I have a few things I will say. So Mr. Melvin is correct. This is not our first time. It's unfortunate, perhaps weren't aware of that in the 7 years, but Jamie Rister did come here on complaints about the boom truck. I don't know if it was a year ago or 2 years ago. But basically at the time, he told us it was the same what you said tonight. It was a personnel and truck issue. They all had expanded and gone through some growing pains, et cetera. And at the time, what I relayed to him was that I had a gentleman who was offloading a garbage can at my house, and he kind of messed up, and he got out of the truck. I was pulling out my driveway. He got out and started picking the trash up. So I went and engaged him, like, man, I'm sure appreciative. I wish all employees were like that. You got out to pick it. He said, He said, man, it's my first day on the job. He said, I'm nervous. I'm like, so you by yourself? And I told Jamie at that time, like, that's a heck of a way to throw a guy to the wolves. Like, it's, he's just starting out and he's already driving on his own. Seemed like somebody would have been there with him, but we all go through the personnel trucks, but I want you to know that that's exactly what was said by Jamie at that time. And the only other thing I'll say is there was an issue with verification recently for me with a guy who had a single can at a house in the town of Lockport with a water meter. And I was kind of blindsided. I think Sam and Dylan told me I was one of the first ones. So I was starting the verification process. The problem with that guy was he's like, hold on, I have a water meter, I'm paying. So he kind of got caught, I think, in the crossfire. So I think you said that, some of them unfortunately kind of get caught in that crossfire. So anyway, and the last thing I'll say is I'll reiterate what Dylan said, in that, yeah, my daughter lives in a house behind me. She has a water meter, so she has cans. So there are going to be times where you're going to have some driveways with more than however many cans. But anyway, I just wanted to throw those things at you. I don't need a response on them. I appreciate your time. Everyone appreciate you coming here tonight.
You're
All
welcome.
right, thank you. No, it wasn't on. He wasn't on the list. So you just pressed your light? I'm sorry. Negative. I'm telling you, it wasn't on. It's on now. You want to press your button? Okay, now it's on. He was not on. Mr. Lorraine, you have the floor, sir.
I just want to thank you for coming. I think the main problems that we have is garbage can tops. That's a big problem.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to tell you what I do. Every 2 weeks when I come to a council meeting, I have a list of stuff that should have probably been picked up but wasn't. But I'll give them all the patience in the world, because I don't care who is the garbage contractor, they're going to have problems. It could be River Birch, it could be Pelican, it can be whoever. The main thing you got to do is try and solve your problems, in which they're pretty good when to solve it. I had a guy that calls me pretty regularly when they skip him. He lives off the highway, and sure enough, a couple hours later, they go take care of it. But I got a couple of streets, East 142 and West 155. I've been asking to get that stuff picked up. 142 is all the way at the end.
East
Believe it or not.
East 142 and what?
And West 155. Let's see, I reported it on 211.
That's a boom pile?
Yeah, it's just a little tree pile on both of them. You know the on 142 what the pile is? Energy went there, or the contractor went and cut some trees and they didn't take them.
Yeah, they leave it for the poor garbage man. I get it.
And I go look at this stuff. That could easily be picked up, and for some reason, February the 11th, February the 25th, March the 11th, and March the 25th. And I know, listen, you can't do everything. I'm not asking you to do everything. I'm just asking you to, just do the best you can.
Yeah.
And most people, if you talk to them, they understand. But they also understand that garbage is not as cheap as it used to be in the parish. It's very expensive now. You pay a millage, you pay a sales tax, and you pay a hidden tax, $16.50 a month. So before you didn't pay that. But anyway, thank you for coming. And see if you could do something. But the lids, they got to call River Birch or they got to call here.
They can do either or.
Either or.
Yeah, we have
Same thing with a can.
That's right. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Any final comments, Gus?
Yeah, final comment is, you made the point that the former manager came here and made had the same issue and everything. Problem is, the problem wasn't fixed. We're gonna fix your problem. We're gonna roll out a plan. We're working with the administration now. Like I said, there's gonna be a boom truck schedule, boom truck zones. And then when we're in those zones, we're putting everything we got at it. It's not gonna be this shotgun approach throughout the parish. Go get a pile here, go get a pile there. When we're in a zone, we're sweeping it, and we're clean sweeping it. And that's the way we do it on all of our contracts. And that's how we're gonna do it here. And it's gonna get fixed, and you'll see a big improvement right away. I can assure you.
Thank you, Gus. Much appreciated. Safe travels back home. All right. Mark has another statement. I'm just going to ask if y'all don't mind, press y'all buttons early on. I know things pop up, but I think Daniel, when I started talking, he must have pressed his button, waited till the last minute. He had a lot of information. So if you don't get recognized, it's not my fault. You have to press your button and want to be recognized. Mark, sorry, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to administration, once we get that in place, could y'all let us know? I guess my question is going to be is, are we going to, we're going to still ask our constituents to go in and file if they've got a debris pickup or not, or if you're saying we're randomly, or if we're just going to try to, if we file request, right, and once we go in those zones, we're just going to hit those addresses that are already submitted. That's.
You got the floor, D.
Thank you, sir. So, Mr. Perk, what we discussed with River Birch is that there's going to be a complete zone, and you're going to know, there's going to be a lot of PSAs and a lot of information, some maps that come out via social media or however we can get it out to the residents. They've even talked about putting out some PSAs on their end as well to get to the residents, but you're going to know every 2 weeks where you live and where you're going to be picked up. At what time you're going to be picked up based on where you live. We still encourage people to call. That way we can track it. We're going to start getting every day what the boom truck picks up from River Birch so we can vet how long piles have been sitting, and it kind of helps give us a timeline. It is going to take some time to get to that 2-week transition just because it is spring cleaning like Mr. Gus mentioned. But once we get there, it should be more of a systematic approach that I can put my debris to the road here. One thing residents are going to have to be mindful of is once they see the truck, it doesn't pay to put it out because it's going to sit for 2 weeks until they make that second wraparound, right? But hopefully they can start to get on the schedule and learn when the trucks are coming. It'll be better for the curbside, right? Yes, sir.
I will say it'd be awesome if we had that transfer facility where residents can go and drop off their trees, branches and trees. A lot of them are willing to move their own. They just have nowhere to go with it right now. All right, brings us to item E, engineer and/or architect reports. I didn't see any in the audience tonight. Brings us to item F, public wishing to address the council, public hearings, agenda item to set. Miss Carlene.
Miss Carolyn Smith, if you'd come to the podium, ma'am. State your name and address for the record, and please remember you have 3 minutes.
My name is Carolyn Smith. I live at 237 Buford Street. I have a couple of issues that I want to bring before the council. And every time I come, it's about land and the junk that's being put around my house. It's my understanding that on the corner of Greenville and Buford Street, they had some FEMA trailers there. The FEMA trailer is gone. They left a lot of debris, the FEMA, and it's my understanding that they said, the ladies, when I talked to the ladies on their property, they said the FEMA trailer was put there by the Lafourche Parish Council. So y'all allowed them to put the trailer there, FEMA to put it there. But when the FEMA people when they came to get the trailer, they left so much trash there, they did not pick it up. So my question is to you, as a lady that moved in, she's a squatter. If that's your property, how can you get her off that property? Because the trailer she's in is a camper. It's not zoned for that area, and she's not allowed to be on there. I know she's not allowed to be there. My councilman, I think it's Mr. Araby, I want to know how did she get to put a mobile home on an empty lot? And they say the lot belongs to the parish. No, that's my question to you. Is that the parish lot, and how did FEMA get a hold of it? Because if it's the parish lot, they were saying that the parish was paying, FEMA was paying the parish for a rental fee. So if the FEMA was paying you all a rental fee, then you should be able to get the lady off the property. This lady done put my house on internet for sale. So I know it's her. Now she done come from down the street, put a travel trailer on the lot and took possession of it. She's a squatter. So I don't know what kind of person she is. If she put that trailer on my house online, and I found a police record for her. So I want someone to come out there and look to see why she's there. Tell her she doesn't belong there. She do not belong there. can you get her to move? Because I see right now it's gonna be a problem. She does not have lights there. No lights. So she got the whole lot. And then she was trying to sell my lot. And I have, you know where I live at, right, Mr. Abbey? That's right. I have that whole lot. And she done moved on the other side, a whole stretch, she done took the whole stretch of lot for herself and cleaned it off. So I want to know, how did she get that lot and who the title belonged to? Because if not, I want to go find out, I want to go to the courthouse and see how she got it. Because I want to know to tell the owner to come get her off of it.
Yeah, so I don't know who can answer that question. She's trying to find out the owner of a specific lot in that area. I mean, I don't know if anyone from that administration can help out on that. Mr. President, go ahead. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the easiest thing to do is I would tell you all of the FEMA, I don't know that we own any property off of Beaufort and Greenville, so I can tell you it's not a parish lot. If there was a FEMA trailer put there, then whoever requested that FEMA trailer be put there had to have given something to FEMA that said they had permission to put that there, either some type of lease or act of sale or some type of agreement with whoever that property owner is. Now, if they pulled those FEMA trailers out, then I'll go jot down the address tomorrow when I drive by. We'll send that to FEMA, get them to come clean it up. Now, if somebody has subsequently squatted on it, the easiest route is to go find the Justice of the Peace, because they handle most of the squatters' issues. That's not something that we deal with from a parish level. So you may want to go find whoever the JP or the constable is.
To come and find out who owns
To come
that
and
lot.
find it, that's
Okay.
right.
Well, I go to the courthouse myself. I know
You
how to
could.
go in and out
Yeah,
that courthouse.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me say this to you. The storm came by. It was a tornado came about 2 weeks ago. They knocked the tree down in the corner of Greenville and Beaufort. That's the fire truck, the nice, pretty fire truck y'all got. I saw it. They came out. Someone came with them with a chainsaw and cut the tree and pushed the tree in the ditch. So that's the problem right there. That's a drainage issue.
Yeah. So Dylan, you take notes of that? All right, so DPW has the notes of it to check out the drainage.
Okay.
You had the right place for that one.
Okay. Now, we gotta get that camper out of there, too. I want that camper gone.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
Let me make sure I got everything. I want to make sure I got everything. Yeah, one more thing. Fire hydrant is on my property. It has not been checked to see if the water, the pressure, I don't know if it got pressure there. I do not want no surprises. If anything happened in the back, it happened before. The reason I'm saying that, it happened before to the lady across the street, her trailer burnt down. And she had a disabled lady standing there trying to take care of. And no pressure was in that water faucet. So I keep washing that faucet and I don't see nobody coming checking it. So if we can get that issue cleared up also, to come check the fire hydrant. I don't know if it's standard, it's a little small one. I don't know if it's the standard size. I don't know if it's probably an 8-inch, 12-inch, what, but I know it's a small fire hydrant. If we can get that taken care of, I appreciate that.
Mr. Araby, you have the floor, sir.
That's a little problem that we can get that taken care of. Correct me, I'm trying to figure out exactly what lot you're talking about on the corner of Beaufort. It's on the corner of Beaufort and St. Patrick Street?
Yes.
Is that the lot that you came before the council and wanted cleaned up?
Oh, no, that's taken care of.
Oh, no, that's why I said we got that one taken care of.
Now it's the next across the street on Greenville. It's right in front of my house. I can look out my kitchen window right across. And they had I think they had 6 FEMA trailers lined up. The FEMA trailer is gone. And the people who was living in the FEMA trailer was trying to get a restore. But they told they couldn't get it because they didn't own the lot.
Right.
So who owned the lot? The parish, they keep saying the parish owned it. If the parish was getting rent from it, then you should know who owned it.
Well, I kind of agree with the parish president. I'm not familiar with any lot that we might own, the parish might own in that area. But we're going to check it out, and see what's going on.
You promise me you're going to get that done?
I don't make no promises, but I will work the judge, see what I can get taken care of for you.
Okay. Well, in the meantime, I'm going to the courthouse and look up the record and see who owned that property so I can send them a notice, just as a piece. If you don't do it, I'll do it.
Okay, no problem.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you,
welcome.
ma'am, very much.
Miss Jessica DeLon, if you come to the podium, Miss DeLon. State your name and address for the record, and please remember you have 3 minutes.
Hi, my name is Jessica DeLon. My address is 120 East 58th Street. I'm here regarding land discrepancy that my mobile home currently resides on. Some people tell me it is my property, some people tell me it isn't. The land in question was owned approximately 20 or so years ago by Mr. Terry Doré. He does own a large portion of property. In 2002, the land was, let me back up. Mr. Doré made an exchange with another neighbor of ours, Mr. Roland LeBlanc. An exact date of that, I'm not sure. That's kind of between them. However, in 2002, my brother-in-law, Paul Jouet, purchased a piece of that property from Mr. Roland LeBlanc. My brother-in-law went. The land was his on a tax bill. It was recorded at the clerk of court. Everything stated supposedly legally that was his land. In 2015, I purchased that land from my brother-in-law, went through the whole process, had a permit put to move my mobile home there, had Board of Health come, Energy put a pole and everything like that. I've been getting a tax bill since 2015. Everything, as far as I knew, said that this was legally my property. A couple of months ago, Mr. Terry Doré came to my home. He still lives on the backside of me. He wants to purchase a mobile home to put on his property for his parents. He went to get a permit for all of that. The parish told him he was not allowed a permit because he has already 2 mobile homes on his property, being his personal trailer. And if you look at, I believe it's called the map, I'm not exactly sure what the map is, the parish map. The parish map is showing that my mobile home sits on Mr. Doré's property. Through talking with, I believe it's Mr. David, it seems as though Mr. Doré and Mr. LeBlanc, whatever amount of years ago, would have gone through a notary public and had their land issue done. In 2002, when my brother-in-law purchased that land from Mr. LeBlanc, they went through their whole process. Everything was done. Whenever I purchased it in 2015, everything was done. We thought everything was fully legal. We are now being told that it is not fully legal because however many years ago, Mr. LeBlanc and Mr. Doré evidently just going to the notary was not sufficient enough, which would have made the sales between Mr. LeBlanc and Mr. Douay and myself illegal. My problem with that is, I'm sorry.
Somebody relinquish some, Mr. Perk. You can keep talking.
Thank you. My problem with that is I have now been quoted 3 different prices to get this corrected. A little bit about myself. I'm a domestic violence survivor. I left my ex-husband in 2012. He was Lafourche Parish's $1 million fugitive at that point. Between 2012 and 2015, I worked really, really hard to get a safe and permanent place of residence for me and my kids. I was told by the parish that everything was fine and good to go to move my mobile home there. Everything was fine. First, I was quoted $800. Then I was quoted $1,200, and now I'm being quoted $2,500 to have my property legally mine in the eyes of the parish on this map. I went to the tax assessor, I went to the clerk of court. All of that has this land under my name except for this map. When I spoke to Mr. David about it, I asked him, how do I resolve this? I don't feel it should have to be me to resolve it because, number one, this sale went through the parish twice. How was this not caught? Like, if this was not correct, how was this not caught? And why is this a burden on me now when so many years ago there's 2 people who I'm guessing didn't do what they needed to do, but now this problem falls on me to have it as my property. Mr. Doré and I were just getting shot down everywhere we went. I didn't know what else to do. I reached out to Ms. DeLynn, and she told me to come and speak to y'all. I have all of my paperwork. We have all of our paperwork. And we just want to know, I mean, how is this right?
Yeah, so I have no idea. Mr. President, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Councilwoman Chestnut and I met with Mr. Poinson before this to try to figure this out. It's not really your issue, right? The bigger issue was on Mr. Dorey. So because the plats were, the original subdivision was, the land was there, the original property owners used a notary instead of a surveyor and engineer to actually fully subdivide the plat, never went through the planning commission. Not to say that we shouldn't have caught it 20 years ago when she bought it and tried to move a trailer on it, right? But the problem becomes when Mr. Dorey tries to put a trailer on this property for his parents, when you get to that third trailer, it wants to become an RV park, and we don't allow the third trailer. So somebody, whether it's Ms. DeLawn or Mr. Dorey, has to go through they have to find a surveyor to redraw the plat and go through the planning commission, and that's the number she's quoting, right? For the survey to go out there, do the survey work, draw up the plat, get it through the planning commission with our fees. Now look, in this particular case, could we waive the planning commission fees? Absolutely, but we can't hire a surveyor to fix it. It has to be one of the two property owners, and it's just one of those I mean, not the answer you want me to give you tonight. I get that, but there's not. We can't get involved in a private property dispute, right? I can't go fix it for her. We can't hire an engineer or a surveyor and redraw the plat for her. Somebody, now whether her and Mr. Dorey split that cost 50-50 or somebody absorb it, somebody doesn't. But at some point to get Mr. Dorey to the point that he needs to, I think David's got a couple options, and we talked about a couple of them this afternoon, whether we create a flag lot for Ms. DeLawn or we get Mr. Dorey to carve off a separate lot, from the chunk of property that he owns to put the trailer on, so it doesn't look like there's two pieces or three trailers on a single piece of property. There's a couple of options. One or two may be a little cheaper than the other, but somebody's still got to pay for that at the end of the day. We can do some administrative things on our end, but to get through that surveying process, there's going to be a cost to that.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Is my turn?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was told that it had to go under my name because I'm trying to claim the property, because what's actually happening, if you look at Miss DeLynne's little color-coded
She showed it to me, yeah.
mess, I brought her yesterday, where my trailer is on my property, on the map is listed as Mr. Dorey, and my front yard is listed as the LeBlanc property because would we have to go to the LeBlanc family? Because Mr. Rowland has passed. Him and his wife has passed. This has moved on to his children. Or if me and Mr. Terry could somehow settle it. I'm at a loss. I mean, like I said, for years now, I thought I went through the whole process and I was legal, and then all of a sudden I'm not, for something that wasn't done so many years ago. So I'd like to know what I need to do. I was willing Friday to go and pay the $800. Yeah. I was like, my God, I'm going to pay it. And then it changed to, well, you need this certain map for $1,200. Well, now let me check. Now you need another map for $2,500. I don't have $2,500. So I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, and I'm confused. I mean, it's not like she owns the property regardless, wherever. So, and she's not at risk of losing her electricity, so it's nothing to do with her.
No, and that's why I keep saying it's more of an issue with Mr. Dorey.
Yeah, I mean, it's his issue.
He wants to put that third trailer in a sense. He created, but he and Mr. LeBlanc in the beginning created the whole mess and not doing it. Now, granted, in 1970 when they probably did this, there really wasn't a planning commission. We didn't have subdivision regulations. We didn't using a notary to create a little right of way to give her a driveway and from a brother-in-law deal. Not to make it sound bad, but it was your brother-in-law, right? Even when that was done, we didn't have the rules that we have in place now. So I think probably between me, David, and I'm gonna loop in Dylan because Dylan's done this a time or two. We could probably come up with some, I don't want to say creative options, but I think we can give Mr. Dorey and you a few options that make it solve it. At the end of the day, it's still going to cost some money, but it may not be the $2,500 or whatever you were quoted.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for letting us know. Mark, you had some? I'm sorry, go ahead, Mark.
Well, and I was just curious, I didn't know in any of those processes if title insurance was purchased through, probably not, if it's come this far. Just.
Like on my portion?
Yes. Because that may add some clarity or just kind of help the situation a little bit. So maybe something.
I don't believe I was ever.
Yeah.
I went by the papers
No, she owns the property.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Carleen. Brings us to item G, approval of minutes. Item 5, I now entertain a motion to accept the minutes of the March 11, 2025 regular session. So moved by Mr. Perk, second by Mr. Brumfield. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence. That absence being Councilman Adams. Brings us to item H, public hearing and ordinances for ratification. Now entertain a motion to open public hearing. So moved by Mr. Perk, second by Mr. Brumfield. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence. That absence being Councilman Adams. Brings us to item 6, ordinance approving a servitude agreement between Cataly LLC, represented by Elizabeth T. Grow, and Lafourche Parish government, authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Melvin, Fed Administration, second by Mr. Pierce. Would anyone from the public like to comment on the ordinance at number 6? Second call, public input, ordinance at 6. Last and final call. Anyone from the public wants to comment on this ordinance? Anyone from the council? There being none, we'll bring it to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passed 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence. That absence being Councilman Adams. Item 7, ordinance approving a servitude agreement between Lafourche Parish Special Education District Number 1 and Lafourche Parish government in the cutoff area, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Ms. Shessover, Administration, second by Mr. Pierce. Let the record reflect, Mr. Melvin stepped out of chambers at 17:56 hours. Would anyone from the public like to comment on the ordinance at number 7? Second call, public input, the ordinance at number 7. Last and final call. Anyone from the public wants to comment on this ordinance? Anyone from the council? There being none, we'll bring it to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes with 7 yeas, 0 nays, 1 council member stepping out of chambers, that being Councilman Melvin, and 1 councilman absent, that being Councilman Adams. You good, Ms. Carleen?
Sir.
All right, item 8, ordinance granting a variance from Lafourche Parish subdivision regulations from exceeding the maximum distance of 250 feet for the street light located at the intersection on Peary Way and Queensway in the proposed subdivision. The settlement at Live Oak Phase 5, as recommended by the Lafourche Parish Planning Commission at their February 26, 2025 meeting. Mr. Perk will move on behalf of Mr. Adams for the administration, second by Mr. Brumfield. Would anyone from the public like to comment on the ordinance at number 8? Just remember to state your name and address for the record. And lectern, Rachel, got it.
Ty Westerman with DDG, 314 East Bayou Road. The street light that's in question here, it's just outside the max distance of 250 feet. It's on one side of the intersection. It needed to be on the other side of the intersection. But on that other side, there's some conflict areas. There's a valve, a hydrant, all in that area. So it was positioned on the other side of the intersection. Working with Mr. David and the solid waste inspection group, they determined that there would be no safety to the neighborhood that would be jeopardized. So.
You don't have any questions? Thank you, appreciate that. Let the record reflect, Mr. Melvin has stepped re-enter chambers at 17:58 hours. Would anyone else from the public like to comment on the ordinance at number 8? Last and final call. Anyone else from the public on the ordinance at number 8? Anyone from the council wants to discuss? My question is this one of them specialty lights? Is this just a regular? This is a regular street light. Okay. All right. There's no further discussion. We'll bring it to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence. That absence being Mr. Adams.
Mr. Arabi is also not in the room.
Okay. All right, so I didn't realize he stepped out of chambers. That would have been, I don't know, 17:58 hours, same time he was walking out when you were walking in? I tell you what, so we're in the middle of, should we call it a recess right now in the middle of this ordinance? Everybody's going to the bathroom. Should we do that? Can I break into the ordinance or should I finish it? All right, we'll finish it then. So let the record reflect, I'm assuming Mr. Arabi stepped out of chambers at 17:58 hours. With that said, any further discussion on this ordinance? We'll bring it to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 7 yeas, 0 nays, 1 person out of chambers, that being Councilman Arabi, 1 person absent, that being Councilman Adams. With that said, I'll entertain a motion to close public hearing. So moved by Mr. Perk, seconded by Mr. Melvin. All in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 7 yeas, 0 nays. One person has stepped out of the chambers, that being Mr. Araby, and one person absent, that being Mr. Adams. And I have a motion on the floor to take a 10-minute recess by Mr. Perks, second by Mr. Broomfield. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 7 yeas, 0 nays. One person out of chambers, that being Mr. Araby, and one person absent, that being Mr. Adams.
I didn't see him walk out.
I didn't see Terry.
No.
Coming or going.
Next time, just ask me for a break, though. That way we ain't gotta do that.
All right. Well, you know what I did? I knew proposals coming. I knew I'd be back.
We have a motion on the floor by Mr. Brumfield, second by Mr. Perk to re-enter normal agenda items at 18:10 hours. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence. That absence being Councilman Adams. Item I, proposed ordinances. Mr. Mark, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Press your button, Mark. There you go. You got it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Number 9, proposed ordinance to install no 18-wheeler signs on West 199th Street and West 200th Street, Galliano, Louisiana, Ward 10, District 9, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, requiring the placement of no 18-wheelers signs and providing penalties for the violations thereof. Councilman Lorraine for administration. Number 10, proposed ordinance granting variance from Lafourche Parish subdivision regulations from the 12-foot utility servitude to reduce to 7 feet in the proposed Dudley Primo division as recommended by the Lafourche Parish Planning Commission at their February 26, 2025 meeting. Councilman Lorraine for administration. Number 11, proposed ordinance granting a variance from the Lafourche Parish subdivision regulations from the building's setbacks reduced to 7 feet front, rear, and sides in the proposed Dudley Primo division as recommended by the Lafourche Parish Planning Commission at their February 26, 2025 meeting. Councilman Lorraine for administration. Number 12, a proposed ordinance approving an agreement between the Department of Transportation and Development and Lafourche Parish government for the donation of reclaimed asphalt pavement and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Councilman Arabi for administration. That's it, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Perk. Brings us to item J, resolutions. Number 13, resolution accepting the low quote of Blue Ant Fence and Shutter Incorporated in the amount of $3,900 for contracted services related to nuisance abatement concerning the demolition of condemned structure located at 163 Lewis Street, La Rose, Louisiana, 70373, assessment number 0092066600300, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Ms. Chestnut for the administration, second by Mr. Melvin. Anyone from the council like to discuss? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence. That absence being Councilman Adams. Item 14, resolution accepting the low quote of Chesson's Demolition LLC in the amount of $5,800 for contractor services related to nuisance abatement concerning the demolition of condemned structures located at 454 Paula Drive, Thibodaux, Louisiana, 70301. Assessment number 0052820526, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Mr. Brumfield for the administration, second by Mr. Perk. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence. That absence being Councilman Adams. Item 15, resolution accepting the low quote of Chesson's Demolition LLC in the amount of $5,400 for contractor services related to nuisance abatement concerning the demolition of condemned structure located at 900 Bruley-Guillot Road, Thibodaux, Louisiana, 70301. Assessment number 00101944701. And authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Mr. Perk will move on behalf of the administration. Second by Mr. Arabi. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence. That absence being Councilman Adams. Item 16, resolution accepting the low quote of Chesson's Demolition LLC in the amount of $5,800 for contractor services related to nuisance abatement concerning the demolition of condemned structure located at 166 West 130th Street, Cutoff, Louisiana, 70345. Assessment number 0101869200. And authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Mr. Lorraine for the administration, second by Mr. Arabi. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence, that absence being Councilman Adams. Item 17, resolution accepting the low quote of Blue Ant Fence and Shutter Incorporated in the amount of $3,300 for contracted services related to nuisance abatement concerning the demolition of condemned structure located at 7525 Highway 1, Lockport, Louisiana, 70374, assessment number 00415321010, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Mr. Perk will move on behalf of the administration, second by Mr. Araby. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence, that absence being Councilman Adams. Item 18, resolution accepting the low quote of Blue Ant Fence and Shutter Incorporated in the amount of $4,900 for contracted services related to nuisance abatement concerning the demolition of condemned structure located at 147 Silver Creek Drive, Gray, Louisiana, 70359, assessment number 01106786662, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Mr. Pierce for the administration, second by Mr. Araby. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence, that absence being Councilman Adams. Item 19, resolution accepting the low quote of Blue Ant Fence and Shutter Incorporated in the amount of $2,900 for contracted services related to nuisance abatement concerning the demolition of condemned structure located at 249 Adams Street, Racine, Louisiana, 70394, assessment number 00413133300, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Ms. Chesson will move on behalf of the administration, second by Mr. Araby. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence, that absence being Councilman Adams. Item 20, resolution accepting the low quote of Chesson's Demolition LLC in the amount of $4,500 for contracted services related to nuisance abatement concerning the demolition of condemned structure located at 134 East 164th Street, Galliano, Louisiana, 70354, assessment number 01022223120, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Mr. Lorraine for the administration, second by Mr. Araby. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence, that absence being Councilman Adams. Item 21, resolution approving change order number 2 for the project titled Courthouse Annex Hurricane Ida Repair Renovations, increasing the contract price by $19,441.20 and adding 10 additional days, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said change order and any all relevant documents. Mr. Perk for the administration, second by Mr. Pierce. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence, that absence being Councilman Adams. Item 22, resolution adopting a records retention schedule for Lafourche Parish government and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said document and any all relevant documents. Mr. Perk on behalf of the administration, second by Ms. Chesson. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence, that absence being Councilman Adams. Item 23, resolution amending resolution number 23-290 that adopted policies and procedures in connection with the Housing and Urban Development Community Development Block Grant programs offered through the Louisiana Office of Community Development and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Mr. Perk on behalf of the administration, second by Mr. Araby. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence, that absence being Councilman Adams. Item 24, resolution approving change order number 7 for the project titled New Rodeo Arena and miscellaneous repairs to the Raceland Ag Facility, increasing the contract price by $4,262.54 and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said change order and any all relevant documents. Mr. Araby for the administration, second by Mr. Pierce. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence, that absence being Councilman Adams. Item 25, resolution rescinding resolution number 24-343 that approved an agreement between the United States Department of the Interior, National Park Service, Laurel Valley Village Incorporated, and Lafourche Parish government for the purpose of collaborating a tour and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any all relevant documents. Mr. Perk on behalf of the administration, second by Mr. Araby. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence, that absence being Councilman Adams. Item 26, resolution reappointing 1 member on the Fire Protection District number 8A board. Mr. Perk on behalf of the administration. Mr. hold on. Go ahead, Mark. Sorry.
One vacancy, one reappointment, Mr. Chris Cortez.
Got a second for Mr. Cortez. Mr. Pierce seconds Mr. Cortez. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence. That absence being Councilman Adams. Item 27, resolution reappointing one member on the Fire Protection District Number 8-C Board. Mr. Perk on behalf of the administration. And who do you have, Mr. Perk?
We have one vacancy, one reappointment, Mr. Kevin Amity.
Can I get a second for Mr. Amity? So moved by Ms. Chasson. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence. That absence being Councilman Adams. Item 28, resolution reappointing one member on the Fire Protection District Number 9 Board, Mr. Araby for the administration. Who do you have, Mr. Araby? Press your button, T. All right, you got it.
One vacancy, one reappointment, Mr. Mark Brew.
A second for Mr. Brew. Second by Mr. Pierce. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence. That absence being Councilman Adams. Item 29, resolution appointing one member on the Juvenile Justice Commission Board, Mr. Lorraine for the administration. Who do you have, Mr. Lorraine?
One vacancy and one applicant, Carl Williams.
Mr. Williams, second by Mr. Araby. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence. That absence being Councilman Adams. Item 30, resolution reappointing one member on the Sewage District Number 1 Board, Mr. Melvin for the administration. Who do you have, Mr. Melvin?
One vacancy, one reappointment, Mr. Kent Lee Red.
Mr. Lee Red, second by Mr. Araby. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence. The absence being Mr. Adams. Item 31, resolution reappointing one member to the Sewage District Number 7 Board, Mr. Melvin for the administration. Who do you have, Mr. Melvin?
One vacancy, one reappointment, Mr. Aaron LeBlanc.
Mr. LeBlanc, second by Ms. Chesson. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence. That absence being Mr. Adams. Item 32, resolution approving an agreement between Lafourche Parish government and the Vacherie Gaines Community Center to reimburse funds for operations, maintenance, and improvements, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Mr. Araby for the administration, second by Ms. Chesson. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence. That absence being Mr. Adams. Item 33, resolution approving an agreement between State of Louisiana Office of the Lieutenant Governor, Department of Culture, Recreation, and Tourism, Keep Louisiana Beautiful Initiative, and Lafourche Parish Government for 2025 Keep Louisiana Beautiful Trash Receptacle Grant Program, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Mr. Perk on behalf of the administration, second by Mr. Pierce. Any discussion? Mr. Lorraine, you have the floor, sir.
Yeah, for 8 months, I've been trying to get garbage cans at all boat launches, and that didn't happen. My question is this just for 3 months? According to what's in this resolution, is this a 3-month deal, or it carries over, or what?
This is the last question. I'm going to give him the mic. All right. Mr. President, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No, once the grant's going to purchase the garbage cans for us, and then once we get them, they're ours. Now, a little bit of the funding is going to carry over for a few months for like in-house costs, but once the garbage cans are out there, they're out there.
Hold on. Dan, yeah, you have to press. All right, go ahead.
If it happens that River Birch has ended up picking this up, will the cans qualify for that?
Mr. President.
So no. So River Birch is not going to pick these up. We're going to handle these in-house, which is why I think either this one or the next resolution, if you read it, it lists the boat launches, and every boat launch is on there but Leeville. We didn't do that on purpose. Leeville is going to get 2 cans just like everybody else. But when we wrote the grant, the person who wrote the grant for us envisioned those 2 River Birch cans staying down there. But so every boat launch would look uniform. We're going to purchase 2 additional cans and go bring them to Leeville so they all look the same and every boat launch has the same thing.
Well, that was the concern I had, that you got Golometa in there and not Leeville, and Golometa does a super job. I've said that here many a times, and they do it themselves. The truck doesn't go over the levee. But in trying to get cans to all the boat launches, I want to make this statement. I'm thrilled to see this administration is taking some advice from me. Thank you.
All right, let the record reflect, Mr. Lorraine is thrilled with Mr. Archie Chesson. With that said, we'll bring this to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence. That absence being Councilman Adams. Item 34, resolution approving an agreement between the State of Louisiana Office of the Lieutenant Governor, Department of Culture, Recreation, and Tourism, Keep Louisiana Beautiful Initiative, and Lafourche Parish Recreation District Number 3 for 2025 Keep Louisiana Beautiful Trash Receptacle Grant Program, and authorizing the parish president to sign and execute and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Ms. Chesson for the administration, second by Mr. Araby. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence. That absence being Councilman Adams. Brings us to item K, Parish President, Department Heads, Directors, or Managers' Reports, Presentations, and our updates. Item 35, Finance Representative present the monthly financial report as required by the state agreed upon procedures for February 2025. Any comments, Mr. President? Normally you give a statement here.
I'm sorry,
All right, you
Mr.
have it.
Chairman. So you guys all should have gotten, you're not doing a presentation tonight. But you're not doing like a presentation tonight, are you? Okay, that's right. Okay, so you guys all should have gotten a copy of the financials, and we'll answer any questions if you have any.
Which brings us to item L, questions for the administration. Mr. Melvin, you have the floor first, sir.
Yes, let's see. I guess can you give me a timeline, best guesstimate, or where we are in the Lafourche bypass, at least to explain to some of the folks out there, and because I know we just finished, thankfully, the St. Charles bypass bridge. Now Lafourche's out, and I have some ideas. I'll talk to y'all, but I just wanted to be sure I'm getting the right information on schedules, timelines, or possibly what we're trying to get the state to do, maybe work earlier or whatnot. Also, any news and what's slowing us down on the Bayou Vista pump station? And I think that's it. Thank you.
All right, Lafourche bypass and Bayou Vista pump station. So Archie Dillon is also present. You want to let him speak, or you want it? All right, you got the floor, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So on the Lafourche bypass bridge, we started that project. I say we, it was started under Mr. Cantrell's administration with DOTD. It was all being designed and going to be rebuilt in-house, complete new bridge. We went out there via a work order to fix a patch on the bridge with some asphalt, waiting for DOTD to come in. Noticed some issues with the superstructure of the bridge, similar to what was wrong with the St. Charles bypass bridge. So out of abundance of caution, we closed the bridge. We emailed DOTD because it was supposed to be on their letting list for August. We emailed DOTD. Unfortunately, they emailed back and said they had pushed the letting date back till 2026. So we're working with DOTD to try to figure out if we can use some upper pressure on DOTD to move the project faster. So I don't have a good time frame for you. It's really not safe to drive on, which is why we closed it. Once I get some correspondence back from DOTD, Bo, I'll be sure to send it to you. On Bayou Vista, we had a call with them, I guess it was last week. We're in the environmental stages with them, going through the environmental review. The right-of-way you guys approved a little while ago with Ms. Grow was one of the first right-of-way. We still have to get one on the south side, and then we still have to go through core permitting and DNR permitting. So at best guess, 18 months to 24 months by the time we get through the state's requirements, because it's grant funding from LWI, and then whatever the core and DNR ships to us.
All right. Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Araby, you have the floor, sir.
Mr. President, the Raceland Bridge, speaking about bridges, the one that we're on north side of Raceland, I'm getting some calls from some school bus drivers that when they're coming through Raceland to turn to go to the schools on the bridge, we do have a white stripe there where you're supposed to stop to give a little more turning area, but it's kind of faded, and I was wondering if there's anything that we could possibly, they're asking if we could push the stripe back a little bit because it's still kind of far for them with these big buses they have now. So if we could maybe restripe it and push it back 3 or 4 foot and then put a sign, not that it's gonna, I'm sure they're gonna pass it and still do it, but I mean, if we could at least put something to try to help the school buses out, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Melvin.
Real quick, Mr. President, what is the issue with some of the state, or maybe Dylan knows the requirements, or somebody out of Baton Rouge or some entity out of Baton Rouge is making these requirements that they keep supposedly coming up with new requirements or additional requirements?
No, you just lost your spot.
On Bayou Vista.
Bayou Vista, okay. All right, Ms. Chesson.
In speaking with Mark earlier about a street light being put up on West 23rd and Highway 3235, he was telling me that it can't be done. They think there's a gas line or something that's passing there. There's no energy in that area to put a pole. So my question is, can the parish put some kind of markers on the street, the entrance of the street that goes from 3235 onto West 23rd, so that the residents can see in the dark where that street is as opposed to the ditch? If that could be done?
All right. Mr. President, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, Bo, going back to you, I don't know that there's any new requirements. We always knew we'd have to get core permits and DNR permits. We didn't think the right-of-way acquisition would take as long as it did, but, I mean, you know some of the issues we had with that, and going back and forth with the landowner. I think some of this is the state just being the state, right? I mean, all of these federal programs have all of these. I mean, we've been fighting it with Councilman Otown on the damn Valentine Bridge, right? I mean, it's been 4 years of trying to fight through those requirements. So I don't think it's anything new, and it's not like they woke up yesterday and said, let's make them go through environmental. We knew we'd have to do it. We're just finally at that point where we're starting to get into it.
All right, there was 2 other items that they asked if you could discuss. I'll bring them back up after Mr. Lorraine. You have the floor, Mr. Lorraine.
Yeah, I just want to know on East 91st, I submitted a work order on October the 28th, 24. There's a drainage problem there. If that canal would be swept out, which we've done it before, and most of that water drained to East 90th. So if we clean out 91st going to the back, it just needs to be swept out. And like I said, I turned it in December the 28th, 24, so appreciate if you could sweep it out where we could solve that problem before it really starts raining.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lorraine. Mr. Brumfield.
Friday after going check on my district, at about 4 o'clock, I had the opportunity to witness another accident at the intersection of Richfield and Talbot, and I wanted to know, what have we come up with for South Central Planning? Has South Central Planning contacted you, or where are we with that?
Thank you, Mr. Brumfield. So I have 4 items, Mr. President. I'll go ahead and recognize it. So I had, Mr. Arabi had talked about the Raceland Bridge school bus.
Yep.
I have the street light that Ms. Chesson referenced. I have East 91st Street work order and the South Central Planning work on the, that high activity intersection.
Yeah, so I don't have any objection to Councilman Arabi, Councilman Chesson, or Councilman Lorraine's issues. I mean, we'll look into why the work order lasted so long. There may be a right-of-way issue, or we'll get with them and figure out why we hadn't got to it yet. But I mean, we'll talk to Gazette about the street light. I mean, I'm sure if it's on the, or putting some sort of entrance marker. I mean, I don't know, we'll go to Lowe's and buy some little solar lamps or something. I don't know. We'll figure something out. And on the four-way stop, DJ, everybody keeps coming back with their recommendation of some additional lighting or rumble strips. I can tell you that nobody has recommended any type of four-way stop, which I know that ultimately that's what the community wants, but it's not going to meet the traffic models that everybody uses. So I don't know that we got a hard recommendation from anybody, but I'll defer to Dylan. Dylan may know more than I do.
All right, Dylan, you have the floor, sir.
Yeah, I would agree with that. No hard recommendation yet. We have heard from South Central Planning that they are planning to put back exactly what we had, the rumble strips, the signs. They did ask that we put back the oversized signs on both sides, but we haven't got anything hard from them yet. It's just in discussions right now. So before there were 2 48-inch stop signs, one on each side. After Hurricane Ida, just 1 stop sign was put instead of 2 on both sides. When you're traveling, let's say westbound, you would see a sign on both lanes, right? Same thing on the other side. So we're going to continue conversing with them and see what they recommend there, but they haven't sent us a final recommendation yet.
All right, thank you, Dylan. With that said, brings us to item M, discussion. Item 36, discussion concerning River Birch. We put in there, just have them on the agenda, and also if they showed up late, so we'd be able to recognize them. I do want to comment that the DOTD, so you mentioned the Valentine Bridge. I know nothing's happened, but DOTD has engaged landowners on the 5-bridge project that's been there for a gazillion years because of all the fatalities, et cetera. So they are engaging landowners to try and getting appraisals on land. So maybe that will happen soon. Mr. President, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of things. One, just want to wish a very special birthday to Miss Ethel from our Head Start group. She turned 80 today and is still going strong with our kiddos and doing her work in Head Start with Miss Huddleston and the team. So happy birthday to Miss Ethel. Last week, Megan and CZM has worked very hard with CPRA on the parish matching program, which is a pot of dollars that they have that we partner with them every year on, submitted a $1.1 million application for some terracing, about 20,000 linear feet of terracing along Highway 1 to protect some of the nearby levees in South Lafourche. And we were awarded that $1.1 million grant. So kudos to Megan on that. Chairman Otan, just so you know, the Company Canal Bridge was supposed to be open tonight. We could have drove over it, but unfortunately there was some thieves that took a toll on some of the parts. The contractor was able to source those parts this afternoon. And DOTD is hopeful without any delays that the bridge be open tomorrow like it was supposed to be. So that'll be a good thing. Bollinger's is hosting a big event on Thursday. There's a piece of the World Trade Center being flown to Lockport that's going to be made a part of a Coast Guard cutter that they're working on. So again, great company to have here in Lafourche, and another milestone going down by Lafourche. We are also going to have about 50 county officials from across the Gulf Coast in Thibodaux on Friday and Saturday as part of NACO's Gulf Coast Counties and Parishes Caucus. We're going to take them down to the port on Friday. Show them how energy and the environment can work together, some of the cool things that we're working on here in Lafourche, and there'll be a slate of presentations from CPRA, LDNR, Restore Mississippi River Valley, Miss Simone Malaws, Joni Tuck from Shell, the port, of course, and then we're going to have a tour of the Coastal Center for them on Saturday morning before they all go home. So we'll have a huge influx of people in Thibodaux staying at our hotels, visiting our restaurants over the weekend. And Mr. Chairman, I don't know if I can do this, but I just would like Councilman Lorraine's acknowledgement that he actually likes me, noted on a special page of the minute book. That would be great. Probably the first time it's ever happened. So thank you, sir.
All right, Mr. Perk.
I just wanted to thank the administration for meeting with River Birch. I think all the council people will agree, it was time. Things would seem to be going a little south. So it's good that we've got a plan working in place and be a little more organized in the process. So just thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Perk. You mentioned the Coastal Center at Nichols. That's still in the construction, right? Yeah, I passed the other day. I thought that's what I saw. Yeah. And the reason I was at Nichols is, the last thing I'll mention is the annual Bio Lafourche cleanup is scheduled for April 5th, 8 a.m. to noon. Anyone interested in participating in the Bio cleanup and get a free shirt, just go online at BTNEP, BETNEP, Barataria Terrebonne National Estuary Program. And on that, it'll talk about the annual Bio cleanup, and you just sign up. You just put your name, your age, and your shirt size and a location that you can help out at. And you don't have to have a boat to participate. With that said, item N, adjournment on motion by Mr. Perk, second by Mr. Pierce. And with there being no further business, the Lafourche Parish Council regular meeting on March 25th, 2025 will be adjourned at 18:38 hours. All in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence. That absence being Councilman Adams. Thank you.